Welcome, fellow armchair generals, and welcome, IKB, the new IKB. Hello. We are, of course, continuing our look at Hearts of Iron 4's by Blood Alone DLC, and partially by that meaning we're looking at Italy, because that is the major development. Now, I get comments, a few, we only get a few comments around here per video, but I get a few comments and some complaints about the DLC here. And I skipped the DLC that dealt with sort of the Balkans or whatever that was called. I didn't buy it. I may buy it someday when it's on sale. I don't know. But to tell you the truth, and this is, I think, one of the things I replied in the comments, is I really don't care a lot about Hearts of Iron 4 as released by Paradox, I should say. Because a lot of the features in it, like railways, which I've not really, in my opinion, explored well enough yet, but a lot of the features in the game are part of the free upgrade elements to the game. So that means you don't have to buy them in the DLC, where the national focus and flavor elements are in the DLC, and that you do have to buy. And yes, I bought this because Italy is big enough, important enough. I figured I would buy it, and I know there's, quite honestly, well, Ethiopia is gone, but the Ethiopian tree, the amount of effort into it to me is ridiculous. But so that doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is the features put into the game and how it can be modded. And then I really, for my personal use for Hearts of Iron 4, is a modded game, something like World Ablaze or Black Ice. That is what I look to. And so, yes, we are continuing here very much, partially to give modders time to... Okay, see, now they've just collapsed, so we're going to run our armor like that, hopefully fast and overrun them. Down here, okay. What we're going to do is support that attack. And we are pushing into here. And Arno, my friend! The great Arno has arrived. Okay, yeah, none of these two things, rubber and tungsten, are enough that I want to commit a factory. See, this is something I'm still not entirely pleased that money is not in the game. Now I get that you're using factories, and in a way this isn't terrible. I really, quite honestly, I would like this more granular. Not necessarily one factory for one thing, because you could just obviously give 8 more factories, and of course who you're trading with, this value can vary between your puppets and not all, but I would make it at least for standard something like one factory does 4 or something. That kind of basically setting that up. Okay, so we're trying to cut off here. I know I'm pushing on here, and that's sort of keeping them open, but I'm hoping... Well, they're committing... Well, they're moving some forces maybe into here. Yes. Well, they've stopped that attack, so I'm gonna stop supporting. I'm gonna support that attack there. Get some traction. So I'd like to cut off this guy in the forest division there. Pause it and get it going a little faster, because we're really still just building up to the war. But we're still trying to play this smartly here. From divisions. Japan declared war on China. There's a lot I can say about that, but I think I'll skip it at the moment. Okay. Pause. Foreign affairs focus completed. Marco Polo Bridge incident. Very good. Now, the reason I specifically went down the foreign affairs thing was to two or more volunteers focus will pause if requirements are not met. Gains volunteer which grants ground bomb target blah 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 blah. Air Corps, right, so we will do this now. Mentioning the Air Corps here. Still up here operating well, looks like. Okay. Good. What is this? Chauffeur approaches Italian officials. During our conquest of Addis Ababa, we freed the former king of Gemma Abba Chauffeur, who collaborated with us before the outbreak of the war. He has now come to us seeking support to restore some of his former powers. This might prove beneficial to us as he still holds some influence, but since he was found out to conspire with us, many viewed him as a traitor as well. Okay, let's see. We could grant. We'll have to get rid of that piece. Grant some concessions. Might satisfy the locals. Political power. Okay, down. Compliance, resistance. Compliance up. The governor of the region. Becomes control. No, I don't think we want to quite go that far. Reduces resistance, but compliance. I think we're going to go for the compliance. That may not be the best. I haven't been playing enough here. And hello, Turnlow. How you doing? And of course, I see Arno over on YouTube and Facebook as well. So we can compliance map. So we're getting, you know, better compliance in some of these regions here. And still have considerable resistance. gamers thinking about, I don't know if you want to call this a rant, but a monologue. I recently saw, as in like the last week or so, a tweet by, and I do follow a bunch of Twitter accounts. So far, have been my best way. Of people in Africa, some white down in South Africa, but many not white, and a few mixed, which in Africa, unlike, say, America or maybe Europe, especially in America, because of the South and some of their racist policies post Civil War, they considered anyone black. I'm using the terms that they use. Anyone black who had any black blood in them, they didn't distinguish between mixed race people. And, you know, like our former president of the United States, Barack Obama, he really is a mixed race person in that he is, this isn't what the main topic is about, is half African. His father was Kenyan, and half white, and his white mother raised him, and he had a stepfather, and I don't know what race he was. It's unimportant. But for me, I'm not that concerned about genetics. I am concerned about culture. So being raised by a white person definitely gives you, hello, poop hunter, definitely gives you, and wrong washboard. Hello, how you doing? Yes, we know you were the Chinese guy who wrote that stuff. That, or the guy who wrote the Chinese stuff, I should say. You know, your parents transmit their culture to you, and that's a big thing. Now, so I follow the accounts in Africa and try to get an African viewpoint, and not just one that I agree with. One person tweeted, you know, look at all that what China has done for us that the Europeans haven't, you know, or didn't do for all the years that they were there. And I'm just wondering, like all the railways, and we're talking sub-Saharan Africa, Northern Africa up here, or Arab Africa, or however you want to call that. Like all the railways, I think, are basically built by, if you will, white people. And there was a really nice Twitter thread of probably about 20 plus posts covering a history of a bridge. And that's sort of what made me think about this. In Ethiopia, the bridge was built by the Italians, if I remember correctly. And it was at some stage during the various wars in Ethiopia post World War II. I forget what they mentioned. I just don't remember the details. The details are unimportant to this story, but the bridge was destroyed. And so there grew up to be a sort of local cottage industry, if you will, of men carrying loads across the span using a rope, you know, or rope kind of thing, you know, with a, you know, people hanging from it, you know, with a loop over it and, you know, sliding stuff over. Well, a charitable group, I think an NGO, non-government organization, comes in and sees what's going on and repairs, not to the standard that the Italians, because it sort of kind of looked like a Roman built bridge, you know, with arches and concrete, and they built just a simple thing that goes across that you can drive a light vehicle. You know, you can't drive a tank or something across it. And then after like a winter or two, that sort of we would in the West probably call it a temporary fix, but the fix to it disappeared. And the NGO people were really perplexed. They didn't know whether it was like storms that knocked down their temporary fix, or the guys they put out of business whose life work was carrying stuff across this river. And then they rebuilt it, and then it disappeared again, sometime later, maybe a year or two later, I don't know. Basically, nothing gets built in a communal use sense in Africa. Somebody wants a private house, a rich person, we can talk whether they're corrupt or not, but they'll get a private house built. That'll be nice. But the idea of building bridges, the idea of building railroads, does not, the Africans themselves, and I think this is cultural, this is not anything to do with anyone's skin color or hair color or anything like that. It's culture. That they don't build infrastructure. Yes, Wong Rush, indeed, it's culture. And I'm entirely, because I know African Americans, and some, to me at least, by looking at their eyes, I don't do genetic tests, look like, and they're, I think they have fairly long ancestry in America. Some of them look like they're mostly African genetically, meaning very dark and have the facial features and whatnot. Others look like they are more European than they are African. And shades in between, shall we say. So, and I've been friends with a lot of my life, these, people from that have ancestry in sub-Saharan Africa. And I've seen lazy ones who just want to do enough. I've seen others that are hustling and working, and, they have that culture of trying to achieve for success. Hello, Tinky. Good to have you here. Reassure us of what we already know. Well, if you're referring to me, I just got to keep saying this, because if get a new person in here, they might think I'm giving some sort of racist type views. I'm not that. I'm not that at all. But I am a culturalist. I do try to get in large groups, not individuals, look at them through culture. So the Africans do not seem to build or value things that are German translation. Now in Germany, cool. That are communally used, that are belong, if you will, to the state. We see ripping up of railroads, railway stations. Not too long ago, I saw a very short video of two men casually with, like, I don't know, a hacksaw or something, cutting down a road sign because they wanted to use the metal of the road sign for something. Meaning they're just, because of police control and this has gotten even worse since COVID, police control in South Africa is disappearing, so people are just, oh, well, if I need something, I'll just go scavenge it. It's a stop sign. Well, we'll just go take it down. And they just don't care. And because they don't fear the authorities punishing them over it, they just don't value that it belongs to the state, and they just take it. So a lot of communist buildings. Oh, Bucharest. You're in Bucharest. Cool. Poop hunter. Yeah. I've seen some videos. Some of modern Bucharest looks, and some of ancient Bucharest, shall we say, looks really cool, and some of it's just a bunch of old communist stuff. My last visit in 1986, they at least finally finished the buildings. Yeah. So you know, back to Ethiopia is where we're looking at this. I do not see, even under Haile Selassie, which it wasn't a modern state, but it was a state. We can let's call it a medieval state, for lack of a better term, and it's has a long, long history. The Ethiopian, going back, it's I would say, and even though it's shifted around a bit, one of the oldest countries. Again, it's not the same government, but or anything, but going back to the time of ancient Israel, one of the oldest countries. But we really see this lack of, wanting to develop. And maybe Haile Selassie, because this railroad from Djibouti here, modern day Djibouti, French, what was it called? French Somaliland at the time, did exist. There was some development. Now, of course, this was Europeans. I'm sure with African labor, but Europeans building this, they just, I don't know. They just don't seem to, it's just their cultural viewpoint. They just don't see the value in it. And the guys who carry the burden across the river, that's their job. They don't see that now that you have a bridge, both sides are connected better, and that means more economic activity, so other jobs will appear. I believe no one in the article had any evidence that these guys who sabotage the bridge to have it go disappear in the rainy season or something, or the flooding season, or however you want to call it. But the bridge did disappear, so and they're the only ones to benefit it from. And it was enough that they talked about some woman who, when the bridge was reconnected, she lived on one side of the river and every day went and worked on the other side of the river. That she could no longer do those kind of things. So you get this situation. So I think colonialism on the whole, yes, we can talk about the atrocities in the Belgian Congo and stuff, but on the whole was good for Africa. Though I don't know if I don't know if it will stick in Africa. It might, but I don't know. Now, I've often thought that we have, from 36 to 1940, so we have about 4 years for Italy, and Italy was attempting to colonize Ethiopia, was attempting to improve the infrastructure of Ethiopia. Mussolini, we can talk about Germany's, drive to the east. They were trying to take land and destroy the people there, physically destroy them, and move Germans into the territory and have this as Greater Germany. Where Mussolini's government was trying to better the lives of these people here. Yes, move in an elite, what would ultimately be a ruling class, if you will, of Italians, for sure. But it was mostly just trying to develop the place and make their empire stronger. And so, but I see, and there has to be, in starting in 36, because that's when you get the League of Nations, calling Italy a bad nation for taking out Ethiopia. Now, of course, all the other members of the League of Nations they're not every single member, obviously, but like Portugal, Belgium, France, Britain, Spain. I don't know if they're probably a member of the League of Nations, a republic in Spain. Of course, they and the Dutch, I don't think any colonies in Africa, but they obviously had colonies, in South America, in there in India, that's Goa. But I thought there was a Dutch colony. Maybe not. No, maybe I'm thinking Portuguese. No, but the Dutch, had colonies. They all condemned Italy for getting more colonies, which is at minimum a hugely hypocritical thing to do. Hugely hypocritical thing to do. And I'm a little surprised that, I don't know if you're just going to put it down to incompetence or the lack of importance of it, but that they did not seem to militarily prepare. They should, even in 36, should be realizing that there is a real possibility that they're going to come into a conflict with France and or Britain. And if you're one, it's probably going to be the other. And even if Britain is neutral, they're probably not going to let you use the Suez Canal. They're probably, for military vessels or otherwise. And so even if you're just going to war with France, well, I don't know that you're going to be able to send, if you can't use here, and just because of, blocking the, if Italy goes to war with, say, France, Britain at least was going to, boycott them and, refuse them use of the Suez Canal. So they've got to send any shipping out through here, across through what we'll call French-controlled Mediterranean. So this is likely to be, an island. And they did not do good, any significant element of, in my opinion, development for a cut-off Ethiopia to hold and building of infrastructure. So for that, they were building some. They did make a road, I don't know if we'll see that comes, from up here at Masua through Addis Ababa down to Mogadishu. But that's about it. Okay, I agree I don't know much about it, but they had a slave and food problem and never talked to the UN about it and kept it silent way too long. Yeah, very true. The world would have helped. Okay, I don't get the Romanian there, poop hunter. I do recognize it as such, though. It was part of the great 80s exodus. I was born 2 days after they arrived here. Very interesting. I heard that Iliescu didn't change much, but the country was more open, nevertheless able to afford Western things. We drove down with tons of coffee and stuff for the border control and friends. You had to bribe them as a German, right? Yes, I was a child. Yeah. So yeah, and we can talk about the short-sightedness of policies, well, just of people. How would World War II have been different had Mussolini been either on the Allies' side or a pro-Allies neutral? That would have been interesting. Many thought Germany is the land of milk and honey, which it wasn't quite true, but people had this hope and myth in their hearts. We talk about a Romanian gamer, don't be too confused. Okay, hello Exergent, how you doing? I just quickly skimmed your posting thread with Black Ice Guys. I'm going to be making a response video probably Monday or something, so I don't know if you want to, whether on Discord or Twitter or something, if you want to shoot me some viewpoints that you would like me to address in the response video to the Black Ice Guys, because I have a bunch to say. And I will say just right now, oh my god isn't entirely wrong, but I'm not entirely wrong either. No, you can, you express your opinions. You express your opinions. I think I agree with a lot of your opinions, you know, with the direction of black ice, but we need to have everyone's views. Okay, yeah, just shoot me something over on Discord or whatever that you want me to, either for me to address or just bring up your opinion, you know, to give argument to what, you know, present your arguments, however, probably ought to be a combination of the two.
Mantenete le distanze.
Okay, so we got this here. Now we're going to not attack there. We're going to try to attack where they ain't, while they come in and occupy these two provinces, which will...
Pronto, signore. Avanzate.
Cut this province off. Now he'll probably move north, but then I'll just go in and go to the province he abandons. Yeah, I watched Oh My God's a video, and he speaks English okay. It's been a long time his series of playing. It may not be the strongest. One of the states in Africa that is building its railway network off their own backs is Eritrea, but they are one-party dictatorship building a railway that's basically the dictator's pet project. That said, they have done a marvelous job getting colonial built railway back in usable condition with basically no outside help. Very interesting, IKP. I'm always like more. I did not know that they were doing any of that. Will you send the spend the military experience from the army to make your tankettes truly peak machines? I don't know. We do have that. I have not used the tank designer before. I've used the naval one, and I'm presuming that this is basically the same. Well, you can look at the modules. Okay, secondary turret, special module. Okay, extra ammunition storage, smoke launchers, fuel drum, sloped armor. Well, I almost would have called that already having sloped armor. Wet ammunition storage. Secondary turret, heavy machine gun, small cannon. Okay, so this is what I say. I'm quite honestly, I'm playing this and, you know, thinking it's well enough, but we're gonna start, you know, more or less from scratch here, I see. These are currently blocked because I see, design lacks one or more. Okay, because I'm waiting for a mod maker to come in and make a mod that has sort of the historical build elements locked in. What maybe I should do is save it to do a medium tank or a 36 tank. I don't know, is Italy, maybe light tanks are the thing. You know, just because of production cost. Yeah, with 20mm tank designer is so much fun. Cool. I've not really used it much. Monster tanks with multiple turrets. Medium tank chassis need to be researched right. Okay. When you design a tank, let chat help you with these, Arno. Maybe, but we may have something with 5 turrets and no armor if I let chat design everything, but it's a cool idea. look down the tree to see what's long term. Sure, we'll do that. Put guns on it. Yeah. Okay, so this is down at the bottom, something that looks like a Pershing tank, modern tank chassis, super heavy tank. That design was actually, or something similar to it, was sort of proposed in the early days of the beta by some of the chat people. I remember somebody drew up something similar to that. You know, yeah, that's like they're super heavy or something. It's not the same artwork, but I think it's inspired by. I think we probably should get some of the like basic engine and improvements before I start spending on building more than we have. So I don't think I'm going to upgrade now, and I'm going to have to make the decision, I think, of doing one or the other. Medium is currently my choice, but maybe production cost, just light, I don't know. So we'll have to see on that. Oh, we are now here. Well, you know, let's take out a fort. Oh, they're attacking us. Just defend. Come on, guys. Spain needs to come in and help me out. Help a buddy out. It's a counterattack. Yeah, I do think English is best. That way just everybody here gets to participate. Tank types use different resources. Heavy tanks use chrome a lot, so it's handy if you get a lot of that. Yes, okay, good to know. Let's see here. Over on production, can we... Okay, it's not... well, so far it's just showing... And it may be down to gun barrels or something that may push the chromium into it more. But yeah, good to know. And, you know, we want everyone to participate around here and be part... Okay, well, they did send in some reinforcements. They'll never get voted. I guess people come from all forms, yes. You have the Germans backing us up here. The mobile division. Well, the SS actually, but I think that's the mobile division here. Counter-attacking the Spanish here. Okay, now we can move down and take out. No, let's move. Let's march for Granada. Take out that railway hub, which will mess with their supply. They pushed division there, but I think we may be able to take them. Now let's look at our current logistics. Okay, we need more infantry equipment, but we are producing more than we're consuming, even with the minor fights going on. We're producing artillery, which is good. Tanks. We have a lot of extra tanks. We have lots of extra trucks. Now this is let's take a look at Rapid division, division seal. Okay, played so much with different mods and setups. I'm just looking to see his speed. Okay. Well, max speed right at the top there. Okay, so this won't affect max speed. If we were to do support artillery there. We have the manpower, and we have the towed artillery. So let's do that. That will help our fast division here currently fighting. And now let's look at our Alpini division. Okay. Anti-air support. No, I don't think we need anti-air support. And we are currently fairly low on support equipment, though. Army just on infantry equipment. I don't want to just blatantly ban that, so let's not. Put some info. Okay, very good. Thank you, IKB. Do appreciate that. I'll look at that after the stream. The Discord over there. Yeah, communist parties. Well, communism is evil. I know a lot of people are fooled into believing that it's a good thing, so I don't hate everyone who has these thoughts, but communism itself is evil. Yeah, it's like they don't. Yeah, I hear you. Okay, so we got that done. Okay, good. So, Balkan ambition, political allies in the Balkans. We'll wait on this for now, but I just wanted to get some of that done while it would still sort of matter. Evaluate the lira. 35 days, another stockyard. Good. Fuel silos. Stockpile fuel. We're straining more fuel as it is right now. I think I want to go to Bandits War, but increase artillery production, that would be nice. 70 days there, though. Synthetic refinery, that would be good. Now, of course, just after saying about a infrastructure building slot. 35 days, these aren't very long. Let's do that. Let's do some of what I preach. Heads up for the artillery line has guns to tanks now, or guns for tanks. Okay, good to know. Well, the footsteps once the fingers get pointed out. Yeah. It's interesting that I'm older than, not all of you, but most of you. It's interesting that in the past, when the left saw the state and industry as being the enemy and that which is to be opposed, where now I see so much of the left being the state and the and industry as being the ally, because although they may not agree with everything the state is doing, the state policies, whatever, and I'm talking not about a specific group or specific party, but just generally speaking here, they believe that it's sort of on their side and it's generally moving in the right direction. And Amazon may not treat its employees well or something like that, but Amazon will ban the books that they want banned or whatever. So they've become the left has become the supporter of large industry because they believe they have their DEI control within it, and the control and heavily infiltrated the state organizations, that all the state employees are all left-wing and all this stuff. So it's been interesting to watch how the left has gone from anti the state to pro. Thanks, Exergen. I'll take a look at it later, definitely before I make the response video. Okay. Hello, Techly. A month approaches Italian officials. He disposed a disposed Abyssinian nobleman, I'm not going to try to repronounce his name, has contacted us with a claim that he can benefit, or we can benefit each other. He offers us his services in return for a position in our government in Abyssinia. Being a former ruler, this might serve our purposes, but being just that, a former ruler will have ramifications for the local population who perhaps will oppose his rule. Okay, so compliance up, revolt up. I don't, where's resistance up? I think we're going for the compliance increase. I know this is each of these different little areas. And this is something I did not know these people's names, but I did know that there were a lot of people that are not necessarily so much individuals, but groups in Ethiopia that were rather displeased with Haile Selassie's government and welcomed the Italians coming in, because they knew that the Italians weren't going to give them freedom or give them independence or whatever. They just hoped, and maybe it's hoped more than knew, hoped that they'd get a better deal than under Haile Selassie's government. Not that it was going to be perfect or wondrous or anything like that, just better. Okay, well, I am a structuralist, but let's come over here and let's see about doing medium tank research. Get that unlocked. Any of the support speeds outside of England. I don't any of the supports affect speed outside of England. Alright. I don't quite get that. Turn low. Forever fight for this forest, it seems like. Stop this attack, and we're going to support that attack. They look like they're doing in worse shape. We'll switch our avenue of assault. Does look like it's going down. Because ideally down here, since we have Ethiopia, well, in my opinion, one of two things the player should do is, in essence, be historically unrealistic and just move all of these forces out. Well, I'm going to move a lot of the forces out anyways, quite honestly. I'm not going to leave all these forces here. I'm probably going to leave a lot of, you know, these irregular type forces, but get out the, you know, decent infantry, well, relatively decent infantry. Well, they're not very accurate, these divisions. Just realized my stream was 15 minutes behind the live feed. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I didn't get your last thing. If you want to re-ask the question, even though it's from somewhere in the past, yes, keep going. Overrun them, maybe. I'll gladly try to answer it. A little surprised with a total of 4 divisions. This one division has been able to hold out the force that well. Since our armor had been pushing here, they've concentrated 3 divisions here. Now they have 2 up here, or brigades or whatever, but it's very poorly equipped, so that should be something that's going to collapse better now. Now they moved in a second unit to help hold here for upper processing good. That will help us. Let's come over here to tank. Let's do basic tank engines. Okay, so we've cut off this section. It does not have, does not have any access to supply other than whatever local supply that it gets from down here. And Spain itself is cut off. Okay, well, we just got another one. Okay. Seon Mangista approaches Italian officials and our stunning victory. Palestinians, we have managed to capture one of its leading army commanders and a member of the imperial family. We are told that the Abyssinian Emperor Haile Selassie holds this man in very high regard. We can use the prisoner to further humiliate the emperor and maybe secure loyalty of the people. Okay, granting some concessions might satisfy the locals. Make him becomes owner. I don't want to give them territory. Gray. Either way, this ends event chain here. Okay, we've got compliance up somewhat. And I know this is doing in different areas here because some of these are 21, 22, 24. And I haven't been paying quite attention, but they have been mentioning which provinces it's been changing in. And this is up in Tigray area. Yeah, I think we'll do this. We'll get this going here. Develop Libya, very good. That will get our North African areas better developed. Okay, Benghazi, civilian factory, naval base, civilian factory in Derna. I think we will, let's go with that. So we've got things going better here in Benghazi, and where's Derna? Is this Derna? No, Alagia. Where's Derna? Obviously that's Tripoli. Oh, maybe it's right now. Oh, okay, just out here, I guess. Sort of for Tobruk. Okay, good. A little better infrastructure set up here, which means we'll be able to better support our armies there later on. So what I hope to do here is, like I say, I'm going to move out some of the better units. Leave some of the worst, maybe leave a mountain division or two, I don't know. And try to hold out here because we should be generating, let's look at this, some supply here. Okay, supply hub, supply from the state infrastructure here. So this is doing some supply, 1.4. Yeah, maybe we should finish off this railway, I don't know. What kind of supply levels do we have here? Yeah, because we're getting supply from the supply hub, bringing in via shipping, and it looks like 1.8 locally from infrastructure, from population, from victory points. So yeah, to try to hold out in sort of Ethiopia long enough to, I don't know, take out North Africa. Hey, thanks for following. Good to have you. Following over here. I play HOI IV, not no step back. Cool Nate. Are you in? Have you? I presume have you got the new DLC? Are you enjoying it? Okay. Well, we need more just infantry equipment, so let's do that.
Sì, signore.
Let's historical AI, and we're playing obviously as Italy. I like a more historical game personally. Hey MMDB, how you doing? The Portuguese. I think the Portuguese were in numbers in the hundreds, not the thousands as volunteers. But I don't know right offhand. Not a lot. Let's drive that way maybe, because they only get one division for facing. Maybe we can push into there. These guys are about ready to collapse, and then we'll have Granada. You stopped attacking. You keep attacking. No one said to stop. I'm going to send the ultimatum to Yugoslavia because when I was playing, I sent ultimatum and made Italian. Okay, interesting. Oh, we should do stuff with the government. I haven't been. Okay, they're preparing for the worst. Germany's being bad. Okay. Well, I've sort of been waiting for get the bandit war to get him. Italo Balbo was a very popular and actually rather good leader. Had he not died, not that it would have changed the outcome of the war, but they definitely lost a good experienced person for that. Air superiority, yeah, we'll put him. And for the Navy, okay. Italy. The most modern element of the Italian, just of the Italian armed forces, was the Navy. I think it was, and I'm not an expert on it, I've not even read a book on it, I just read articles and whatnot. I think it was a reasonably competent Navy. It had two problems. One, it did have a problem with fuel, oil. It was worried, it had a store, for the Navy, a store of fuel for its ships. But it couldn't just operate all of its ships all the time. It would run down its oil too fast. So that does things. It limits things. I don't know how important, probably not so important for scouting issues, because scouting more and more I think we're going to try to improve the medium tanks, or no, but we'll see. And the fact that Italy and Ireland beat Abyssinia, Ethiopia, but they lost half of the troops. Well, they lost a lot of troops, but not half. It was costly for them. Scouting in this part of the world isn't going to be done a lot with destroyers and whatnot, so it's probably not that bad. Where scouting out here, naval scouting, you need to send ships. You don't, and the US, I know particularly, had large scouting forces. Try to kill Prince Paul. You were talking of Romania, or Yugoslavia, right? We'll see about that when we get there. So air power which uses different fuel. It uses fuel, but air power is going to be your main scouting force. But still, the idea that you conserving fuel, it reduces your training levels. It reduces your effectiveness, because the other element that Italy faces is they don't feel I think that you can support Croat Bosnian uprising. Yeah, we may see about doing that. That they built this navy. They didn't feel they could lose it. It was too expensive of a thing to lose. So they did not want to go out and fight what they thought, and I would agree at the time, the premier navy in the world, the British, because if they fought it and sunk ship for ship with the British, if they did that well, they would be without a navy, and the British would still have a navy. And, well, France was still in the war during that time period. Obviously, France would have a navy. So they did not want to fight unless they saw a clear advantage. They weren't entirely, and this is my understanding of the situation. It can be described from the sort of the French strategy, long term of navies, is a fleet in being. That is not the way the Americans or long history of the British Navy is. They don't believe in a fleet in being. They believe in crushing their opponents, and particularly we can see that with Nelson. He really, I mean, that's at the end of the wooden ship era, really, but he leaves Britain with that spirit of crushing. Britain, at least we're talking capital ships, would be happy if all their capital ships are on the bottom of the sea, so long as they've sunk all of the enemy capital ships as well. They're going to go out to fight, to crush, not to play with the enemy. And even to the point of, say, if they've just got 3 capital ships and the enemy has 6 in a particular matchup, if they can take down 3 of the enemies while losing their 3, they're happy, because they just want to attrit, to erode, to eliminate as much of the enemy as possible. So that's the way they feel about it. Where the French, their long history, it isn't entirely a timidity of not willing to lose their navy, because they definitely sally forth at times and fight strong battles with the British. It's more of a strategic thought, in that if they have a large fleet here, and as it sits here, it limits British operations. Because if this fleet sits here and exists, and I'm talking in the age of sail, Britain can't invade, because if it were to try to invade, the coast of France or something, this fleet would sally forth out and attack the invasion fleet. You have to destroy the fleet before you can invade. It was a defensive matter. Britain could have done this, in the idea in the age of sail is to keep a fleet in being, to keep the French from ever invading Britain. Now they go on the offensive, but it's that. Italy, maybe some of that thought, but it's not, I don't think, so much that they had to keep their fleet in being. It's just they valued this expensive, I don't want to call it a toy, but this expensive instrument. They just didn't want to lose it. They wanted to fight, but they wanted to fight on their advantage. Now, so if the British have 4 battleships sailing around out here, and they can put 8 battleships into a battle against them, they'll happily do so, the Italians, if they believe that. But if they've only got 4 battleships ready to go, they're not going to go out. They're never going to go out at equal or worse advantages. Now, what this does, with the combination of the two, what this does limit is the idea that if the British are moving, say, forces to operate in, defend operations in Greece, say, they're unwilling to put their fleet out here to threaten the fleet, whether it's evacuation or reinforcements or just supply or whatever it may be, because it's going to use fuel. and they're not sure of it, where their fleet is particularly pretty fast. So long as they have decent aerial reconnaissance, keeping track of British fleet movements, they would know that if the big British fleet starts coming towards them, they can run away. But because of conserve fuel, they end up spending so much time in port and in effect being a fleet in being, and which does limit the ability of nations like Britain, like France or whatever, to invade continental Italy, because so long as you do have this fleet in being, you can't invade because your invasion force could really be messed up really bad. And of course, what the Americans and British, they defeat the Italian fleet. They sink a lot of it at Taranto with an air attack. And so by the time that they've taken North Africa and getting ready for Sicily, the Americans have achieved naval dominance. And yes, I do put that in. Yeah, British rules the seas, absolutely. I play. Voltaire said, in this country, it is good to kill an admiral from the time to time to encourage the others. Well, I think you're talking about referencing Admiral Byng, who I think probably didn't deserve it, though I'd have to read up on it. But I think that's what IKB is. Admiral Byng was shot on his own quarterdeck by a firing squad after a court-martial found him guilty of basically, I think, cowardice in front of the enemy or some such thing. But I'd have to read up about it to give it a real critical thing. I've read on it, but it's been years and years ago and just sort of a cursory. Sort of before, because I think that's dealing with the 7 Years' War, if I'm not mistaken, IKB, Admiral Byng. But it's sort of before the time. Most of my readings are dealing with the American War of Independence through to the end of the Napoleonic Wars for the British, and the age of sail is sort of, that's where I've focused on. Okay, naval experience gain, because so I'm looking at convoy rating efficiency up. Okay, good. This is going to have the same thing. I don't know why. I guess he can be also ruling party fastest. Back, but I don't know. Why not make these? You've just created a DLC that focuses on fucking Italy. Can't you come up with some unique unique traits for some historical figures? I'm talking like Italia Balboa, like, you know, they built the infrastructure, the Via Balboa, which is named after him, which was a highway along the coast of Libya here. So I don't know, infrastructure building up by a certain percentage or something like that. Can't you come up with unique stuff like I've done for Third Reich events? Come up with unique traits for some of these people. Paradox. When you do an Italian DLC, I understood when you released the basic games, you're just doing standard archetypes and putting them out there, and then getting flavor names and pictures, and sort of try to guess which one is closest. Might be in some cases, and others I don't know how much they've looked into it, but they just got done. Hey, Beam Slam, good to have you here, my friend. The admiral who was shot for failing to do his utmost to prevent Minorca from falling. Right, okay, yes, Minorca. And I do believe, yes, Admiral Byng. You're right, I was thinking of Minorca, which is down here. Is it this island? This is a smaller one or something that was British owned for a while. So it's just the idea, but yeah, so, you should have been able to come up with some nice, unique traits for Italy in this DLC. Okay, experience gain daily, air experience gain. So air reform. Oh, well, we already did that. That's right. We're thinking about Navy, Chief of Navy. Okay, capital ship, screens, naval aviation, carriers. Well, we're not going to do carriers because Italy doesn't need carriers. So naval air attacks from carriers. This is. Oh. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Akibi, for the link there for people who are interested in going and doing deep dives. Um, Again, this is on the same sort of effing subject. You give naval aviation. Now, Italy is strong in naval aviation, particularly amphibious aviation, because they realized that their primary area of operation, they've got islands everywhere or coast, including, way out here, including, not just roads, but some of these other little islands at start of the, at least at start of this period post World War One. They've got all of these, including, little bits of coast off here. So they know that, yes, you can build land-based, airstrips all around, but they are sort of limiting. They, their infrastructure needed to be built physical, not just, the ability to have refueling stations or whatever. So they build a lot of amphibious air, and I would. Not that a light aircraft carrier wouldn't benefit the Italians, it would. But they don't need big fleet carriers. As long as they're operating in the central Mediterranean or only operating in areas that they're expanding out into, like from Rhodes into to here when you get Crete, or moving this way, you don't need this. So what you should have done is, well, I guess, I'm looking over here because, again, I'm so used to playing mods that have things like naval aircraft. So if you don't have a naval version, I'm not talking about a carrier built version. I'm talking about a still way too soon. When we get a bit closer, we maybe do that to take advantage of that. But to do something that's more of a naval bomber that has better naval attack, yeah, I don't know. Because it's just sort of pathetic, because there's no reason to have this guy if everything is from aircraft carriers, and I know we're not going to build any. Convoy rating, decisive battle. Again, screen attacks, heavy attacks experience. I'm going to continue to try to do my strategy of we'll put him in charge of avoidance of major conflict of surface fleets. We'll get there. Or no. Right now, well, because, okay, we have air experience, so, currently building this. Arno wants bomb sites. No, that isn't going to help a fighter. Okay, well here I guess is where we would build dive brakes, floats. Okay, so we could, but this makes it worse. Surface detect. No, it helps surface detection, sub detection. Okay. Okay, strategic material usage or non-strategic. So reduces aluminum per factory. Okay, well we'll do that. We'll do that. Okay, so we'll use non-strategic materials, and we're going to come over here, and we're going to move to series or 1 series here. And so what? No, did we get this? Oh, that put it into production. We don't want to do that. No, thank you. We're going to come over here and do this. So switch over to that to use less aluminum here. Hello, Holiday Punch. How you doing? All right, good little limerick. We don't yet have nukes in at this date in our game. Not that they won't come someday, maybe, but yeah, resistance.
Ordini?
Okay, what are our construction currently doing? We're sure mostly just repairing roads because of another damage here. Let's actually build some factories, I think. Instead. Well, okay. We do that now. Fuel silos. We're not yet nearly towards our possible stockpile limit. So let's do this. Let's build a couple of these things. Get those going for better fuel. You rarely use nukes, yeah. I mostly don't as well. Okay, we've developed Ethiopia and radios have now been improved. Okay, prospect for oil. Ooh, 8 oil insert. Which is... I don't really know how to pronounce that. Insert. Alagila. Benghazi, Cyrenaica. Okay, down here. Yeah, let's go non-historical. Let's do this. Controlled by Italy. Yes, infrastructure. Okay, this is the Via Balboa here. I believe that's what that's referring to because those are all along the Tripoli, Alagia, Benghazi coast. Add infrastructure, regional development. So this will take us 70 days. We'll get oh, you know, I think because it had just been Derna and Benghazi, we want to do these two first because I think because we just added Shua and Shiwa, which are down in Ethiopia, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to develop all of these first. Okay, so we're gonna develop our African empire here. Okay, okay, we've got this. We are building up better engines. Enables welded armor. Well, Italy didn't do welded armor. We're in November, so we're getting towards the end, but we won't really see news. We got that resource efficiency gain, which is nice, and we'll get to that. 91 days. Okay, we don't really, because those are just modifiers to units, so we don't need to do those early. They won't, well, they would unlock these, but whatever. Don't need those yet unlocked. I think we're going to stick with just generic basic trains because we're Italy and we don't have a whole lot to do there. I think we'll do this for our operations in Spain, if nothing else. I mean, it will be very useful later on. Still haven't taken this forest yet. Oh man, they're about ready to collapse, it looks like. I don't know if they have reserves that they can move in or not. Okay, well, this episode has gone on too long, so we're going to keep the live stream going, everyone, but we're going to end the episode here. I want to thank Tim, Strongarm, Niagro, Timothy, and Sir Toyjet, and others. Oh boy, we've got a new one today. I'm blanking on the name. I haven't written it down yet. Support over on Patreon, but I want to thank everybody here for just watching, liking the channel. If you're live on YouTube, please like the channel as well. Posting comments, subscribing, following. Thank you so much. See you next time for more, yes, more hearts.